like you lost another one.
Chi ma ka chi typical, chi ma ka nei bo ko nyo, ba ha lu khu de da o we lo ba ha lu khu de da sa ka nyo ho ko the player do so, ma ma nu ko the order da o we lo ho ko the player let's all, ma ma nu ko the order da sa ka nyo ba ga he ne typical, ba ga he do ba do the war, ba ha chi lo ba chi lo ba ko.
Thank you for taking the time to listen to today's episode. As you know, the current crisis in Myanmar is extremely concerning, and we appreciate that you're taking the time to stay informed. There is even value in just becoming more aware and helping to inform others. So please consider sharing this episode so that more people may learn about what is happening in the country. It's critical to ensure that this issue remains present in public discourse. But for now, let's get on to the interview itself.
Thank you for inviting me. So my name is Saw Sha Kerpaw Wah, and you can just call me Wah, to easy to remember. And the name I use on social media is Wah Fish Paste. Yep. And full introduction. I'm a refugee background, Manerplaw refugee camp. Since 2004, me and my family, we got the chance to move to Norway, so we resettled there. So it's been 20 years, and yeah, I went to school, went to the army. Now I do humanitarian work back in my homeland.
So there's so much in your journey to cover. I really thank you for taking the time to come with us and open up to our listeners. And I think your story is one that many people who know about Burma should know and be informed with. I think your story is a microcosm of so many stories that are happening there and the ways that people are currently engaging in the crisis. And so to go back to your early years, you reference how you grew up in a refugee camp and then at some point moved to Norway. So can you describe for us a little bit about the life in a refugee camp as you remember it before you moved on to Norway?
So the life in refugee camp, I was just a kid, and didn't know much of the evil in this world. So I was having a good time because the people around us were the people we loved, our friends. We went to school, we played when we come back in the rain, in the river, and we didn't know anything else other than friendship, love, laugh, go to school. And but one thing we knew was this is not a village. This is not where we belong, and there must be some change one day. As a kid, I had that in mind, and yeah, that's the life of refugee camp. I didn't get to spend time with, especially my dad, a lot because he served the people, and he was always away. Maybe came back once a year or every 2 years, and we didn't get to see him very often. So when we moved to Norway, that's when we got to stay as a whole family.
And how old were you when you moved to Norway?
9 years old.
Do you remember 9 years old? I think that is an age when you do have some memories intact and you have enough awareness of the world to know that some shift is taking place. And so as a 9-year-old, what do you remember about that transformation from the jungle refugee camps to icy Norway?
What I remember, so this is a moment that I go back to all the time. When we went to Norway, the first couple of weeks or month, I still like close my eyes, and I hope that when I open up my eyes, I will appear back in Manerplaw refugee camp among my friends, where I can play again, be a kid. But the reality was different. I still woke up in a different country, where people spoke a different language. So it was a little bit tough, but when you're a kid, you adapt quick as well. So, but what I missed the most when we arrived in Norway was just the friendship, the bamboo houses. You know, we didn't, even though we were just refugees, we didn't make a lot of money. We didn't have our own village or freedom. We still were able to have some fun with friends. So that's the memories that sticks with me forever. And the first impression in Norway is like, it's cold, it's fresh air, it's big mountains, and we were one of the very first families that arrived in Norway as refugees. So we didn't have a lot of Korean friends. So there were 3 families that went that time in the same village where I went to. So that's the friends we had for many years. That's it. And we just had to adapt to the new life.
Now, I realized when I was tracing back your story, you referenced being in the camp, but were you born there? Do you have any memories, or were you born in Burma proper, or
I was born in Manerplaw, which used to be the headquarter. You probably heard of it too. Yeah. The headquarter of Korean National Union. Yeah, it was a very big headquarter, like a stronghold area. Even all the ethnic groups look up to the leaders at that time, and the word Manerplaw, the place was very powerful. So I was born there, and when I was only after 2.5 months, the headquarter fell.
That was 95.
I was born in 1994, so in 1995 January. I was born November 1994, so 95 January, that was when it fell.
Right. So your life started with you running through the jungle away from the Burmese military, basically.
Yeah, well, my mom ran and carried us.
Wow. Yeah. That's a lot. Yeah. Yeah, so then going back to Norway, so you were there as a 9-year-old, you were adjusting with Norwegian culture, language, climate, everything else. So and you would stay on in Norway for 20 years. So how did that really did become your home in many aspects of the word? Do you consider Norway a home?
So we're very lucky to got placed, because before we went to Norway, the interviewer, they asked my dad, what kind of place you guys want to stay, like low key outside the city, in a small village, small town, and that's where we got put. And it's very quiet. The water is super good, tasty Norwegian water, and the country is very beautiful, and the small town that we went to has where everybody greets everybody. So it's right. We were welcomed with open arms, and very loving village or community. So we are very blessed, lucky there, and so it was a good childhood as well in Norway. So I do consider it as a home, because my family, my mom, my dad, my sisters, now my wife, and my other close friends are there too. We grew up together in Norway, so it's like my second home. Kawthoolei, where most people know it as Korean State, that's where I truly belong. Yeah, no matter how much I love Norway, I would always love to come back to my homeland.
Can you say more about that? Say more about this this deep heart connection you have to Kawthoolei, despite the trauma and the pain and the suffering that has emerged from there, and also the displacement that's happened, and being in Norway for as long as you have. Talk more about that deep, heartfelt connection you have and what home really means to you.
So, why I call Kawthoolei home and why I believe this is where I belong, is because, first of all, I was born here, and my people still lives here, and there's still conflict and war, longest running civil war in the history. 70 years plus, almost 80. So I kind of have a sense of duty in my DNA that I have to do something for my people. I wasn't just lucky and blessed to be able to go to Norway like for free. We went there for a reason. One day we all have to come back and do something for our people, to come back and serve, It's not the easiest option is just forget it. I can live a simple life, I can have a proper job, a big house, big family, fine car, and it's easy, it's comfortable, but I don't like comfort so much. It kills my growth. I want to keep growing and do something for my people.
You say you want to keep growing. Can you give examples of ways that you feel you have grown and are striving to grow, that you're eschewing comfort and going in a different direction in order to prioritize a certain kind of growth instead?
When I say when I talk about growth, I mean like personal character, growth in character and mind, open-minded, and don't just believe in things that I see with my eyes. I don't just believe in because people say it. I want to explore it. I want to understand it, and then I can make my own judgment. I want to make good decisions, because in life we're always one decision away from ruining our lives. So, not to ruin my life, I want to become a better person that makes good decisions, not just for myself but people around me. I want to be useful, grow so I can be useful.
I have to say, I'm sensing this really powerful inner resolve in you, this sense of caring for one's community and something greater than yourself. And I'm curious, is this something that you feel has just been inculcated from a young age through your culture and conditioning and family, that has always been within you, or is it the result of a hard-fought battle of discovering who you are and what you want to be in this world, and landing on that after maybe some wrong turns?
Right now, my current version, my mind, my heart is at peace. Like I can make peace with really tough stuff, really challenging stuff, hard situations. I know how to control my emotions or my mind, and so to get to that level, I had to go through a lot, of course, and then I live by a quote, like, say maybe a prayer, God give me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, have the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So that's why I consider myself as a very calm person right now. But I went through a lot to get to this level of a state of peaceful mind, I think. And then when it comes to the love for the people, my mom always talk about her experiences, with kids. I think that when your mother tells stories about the struggle, the war, it's emotional. It stays in your heart and your head. I mean, that's how it gets built, slowly and slowly and slowly when you're a young age. And I'm a very curious person. I like to ask a lot. I don't mind asking dumb questions, just to learn new stuff. I don't mind being seen as stupid, but because I want to learn. So yeah, I ask a lot of questions, and that's how I learn more about our history, our peoples, and why I have to do something about it. Because once you know that you can do something about it and not doing anything, you feel as guilty as the people that are causing the suffering to your people.
And what role, if any, does faith or religion play in this journey?
I don't preach a lot. I try to be the very character of. If people see that I have a good character, if people see that sense that I'm a good person, then that's it. I don't say that I'm a good person. I say I'm come from a Christian background, and as you may already know, but I don't like go out and preach it. I want to live it. So if I'm a good person, people will copy, people will learn from my character. If not, then yeah.
But do you feel your Christian faith or the teachings of Christ, has this gone into the way that you try to lead a life in this world?
I believe so, because I don't think we have other purposes on this world than serving people around us. Because tomorrow's not promised. You think about it, everybody you love, they will die. In 100 years, they will die. That's a fact. You cannot escape it. And you just have to make peace with it. Like, you're gonna die one day, sooner or later. And everything you know, everybody you love, will be owned by others and will be disappear. And this whole planet, there will be new people in 100 years. Maybe some lucky people that still live, but you know, it's a new world. It will not be the same world that we live in today. So it's pretty short if you think about it. Say you live 100 years. Let's say you live 100 years. If you sleep 8 hours a day, that's already 1/3 of it gone. If you waste more time than that, you know, it's shorter. And if you work 8 hours a day, even shorter. Well, what time do you have? We're too busy focusing ourselves and not people around us. Because in the end of the day, it's what you do to others that that's how you will leave a mark on this world. That's what I believe. Yeah.
That's really profound. I just I want to take a moment personally to thank you for sharing this with me in this moment. It's giving me a lot to think about as well. It's very inspiring, and I'm wondering as well, because you were in Norway for 20 years, and after settling there when you were 9 years old, and so this commitment and this connection to Kawthoolei and the Kenya people is this something that after a 20-year period you had a transformation or transition in your life to then make a real change and relocate geographically, or during these 20 years were you constantly going back and forth or being involved in different initiatives during that time as well?
I started making real change in 2018. There was a indigenous community leader in Kawthoolei, in Manerplaw district. He got shot by the Burma army, and then left behind a widow and seven kids. So, and then shortly after, they came. Kisan made a video of that guy, and there's a small speech that he made where he said the same that I mentioned. He can live comfortably alone, but if he has to lay down his life for people that he loves around him, he will. And you know, the small, just a short sentence, and his action also proved that he did the same. Made me just realize, question my life decisions. Like, am I doing something with my life, or am I living my life, or am I just trying to survive in this world? So I just like, I was in my final year in the university college in Norway, and I actually did something that I don't recommend a lot of people do, which I dropped out. And but I was committed to this cause, so I didn't just drop out. I went back and forth. I was drop out. I'm gonna leave everything. I'm gonna go back to see his family, the guy that passed away. I made myself that promise, and I did it after a few months, and so the rest is history. Yeah.
So that was the turning point for you.
That was the turning point for me. So
Right.
because of him, made the decisions that I made that made me the person I am today.
Wow. And had you had any connection with this man before seeing this?
Never
film?
met him, never seen him, never heard of him.
Huh.
After that video only.
Huh. So that video made that kind of impact.
Yeah. This is a short video. Storytelling, yeah. The power of storytelling. Yeah.
The conditions must have been right for you to get that message at that time.
Yep. I was sitting in I like to most of the time I like to do stuff alone. So I was in a room all by myself, studying, writing, reading books, and a video popped up, and I just clicked play, and then yeah, that's the turning point. And also one thing, I'm not gonna tell the things that I know because I want people to pity my people, think that like I'm not a fan of victim mindset.
Yeah.
I don't expect a lot of help from people.
Yeah.
If they help, well, good. If not, I don't mind. Like we have to we have to do it ourselves, and so yeah, my people is very divided. We have a very divided history, and leaders, different opinion, different mindset. They can never agree on one thing, which results in division and fight against one another. So we've been in, let's say, in colonial time in Burma, call it. A lot of scholars, like big names, like educated people, higher education, say even in the army, that time used to be Kren nationality. General Smith Dunn, Dr. Sansi Po, and there's a lot of more names like Shisho. They were like great leaders in Burma when the British Empire was in Burma. So I think because my people were kind of advanced in a lot of areas, there were some envious people that didn't want us in power. Or my people don't like to be in power because when they're in power, they don't know how to use their power. So it gets disasters, it becomes disaster. So, but when they have people that higher up than them, then they can be very useful, very obedient people, the Korean people. That's why I consider our people as obedient people. We take pride in being peaceful. We don't fight back. We don't rebel. We just do as we're being told, and we take pride in being the good kid. Like missionaries, a lot of missionaries write about the Korean people loves peace and blah 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 and all that. Yeah, we do, but we also take a lot of pride in it, and then it becomes a good slave. You become a good slave when you take pride in being obedient. So, yeah, and my mind, I think too much now. I want to simplify it. So
You're doing great.
I'm gonna try to simplify it. So
yeah.
In 1949, that's when we've been too much under. We've been oppressed too much. We couldn't get our own independence, state or country, and just to simplify it, that we won, and that we had to take up arms and fight. We used to fight by the British side. The Korean people fought off a lot of Japanese soldiers at that time. We great warriors, especially guerrilla warfare, and we're not known to fear a lot. So there's a lot of good characters in my people as well. So yeah, and later on we started armed conflict, revolution, which we call it, but it doesn't look like revolution no more. It's almost 80 years. So year by year, decades after decades, things just got out of hand after our very first president, Saw after he got assassinated. That's when I think we kind of collapsed, and we haven't been fully. We don't have a fully structured body till this very day, and there's no one that has the command, has the super strong leader that will bring its people to victory, or say victory not to wipe out the enemy, but victory to control our own borders, areas, our own country fully peaceful. We don't have that yet, so we still struggle today, still ongoing, and so that's why I became a refugee, and I come back and I join people that are still standing righteously to just wanna just wanna end this fight and start living peaceful life. So my children don't have to grow up in a time in war. They can grow up peacefully, play among the bamboos, and in the river, in the rain, however they want to grow up. That's my ultimate dream, a free Kawthoolei where all can flourish, for everyone, not just Korean people that live in our border, in our area, in our say our Kawthoolei. They can live freely as a human being. That's my ultimate dream. So yeah, it's not a lot of numbers and facts about history, but that's my part.
That's exactly. Now you reference this dream you have of a free Kawthoolei and people living in this peace and harmony, and I know that you're very involved in the micro level of humanitarian, helping those that are in dire need, and we'll get into that, doing tremendous work there. I'm not sure if the whole political vision and political reality is something you're involved in or you think about, but if you do, insofar as your thoughts have gone in that direction, there's a lot of discussion these days of what a post-military Myanmar would look like in terms of a federal democracy, or fears of, or hopes of, balkanization and independent units or states of some kind forming. As far as the Kenya people and Kawthoolei is concerned, as far as you've thought about that, to what degree are you looking at a federal democratic structure or something else?
Burma, say, or Myanmar, you may call it. We call it in Korean Kola, the Green Land, means the Green Land, the whole country. So if it was possible, it would have been a long time ago, I believe. It would be one of the most beautiful countries in the world.
Yeah.
All Kachin, Chin, Shan, Rakhine, Burmese, Korean, all the tourists would go crazy.
Yeah.
If the country was how do you call it, well managed, or better, I forgot that word. But so since if you look at, say, the United States, they speak English almost, say every state. Still there were civil war. They fought, could never agree. Still today, so I believe that and of course an ideal federal democracy, a country. I'm not much of a political person, but if you do the math, I don't think it's doable now. I don't believe so. But that's my personal opinion. So I believe in like all the not the ethnic, all the different people. You know, if you say ethnic, like too small. But the Korean people, almost 10 million, maybe plus. You know, that's not just minority.
Yeah.
When you're 10 million, you know,
Yeah.
Norway has 5 million. That's a big country. So when you're 10 million, you're not a minority no more. So we have we have our own language, our culture, our every characteristic that can portray can be a country, its own independent country. So I think for me, my personal perspective, I think that would be the ideal. If we have the capacity, we will build that first, and then we can help others around us. If not, it will only be chaos again and again. Even the Korean people alone, we can never. We're divided in five, 6 groups. How can you have a super big country where everyone's united? So if we don't first focus on building our house, how can we build a village, a fully functional village? I don't see anything logical with that part. So I mean, it's not that this is better, this is not. Is that that's what I prefer as a Kenya person. Yeah.
Sure. So let's go more into the micro then, because we were looking more at countrywide, statewide, region-wide even, and you reference these ongoing divisions among the Kenya people that have been going back generations and are still these fractures that are still apparent today, in some ways fracturing more today, in some ways of different armed groups and different peoples seeking trying to clarify their own directions. So can you share with us how you would describe the divisions that are manifesting today, and where you think it's possible to bridge those divisions and gaps?
Our first president was Saw Sha Kerpaw Wah. He was if I'm not wrong, not Howard, but one of the very best university in England, in UK, where he graduated as a lawyer and came back and served. And I think if more people like him, has the chance to go to the third world country and educate themselves, get more experience, more skills that are useful, come back and build our country together, I think. And then we need a good, strong, great decision maker, leader that can take us. Cause we're great followers if we have one good leader, but if there's no one like super strong leader guiding us, then we tear ourselves apart. Enemy barely has to do something, we would tear ourselves apart if we lack leadership, good leadership. So I think we need a new leader that can reunite the whole people. I think even I have been to the front line myself, and there are divided groups, but we still fight together when in the lower ranks. The only thing we say is, if our leader holds hand under, say, one command, then we're brothers, no difference. We will follow anywhere as one. So we lack good leadership. That's what we do.
How would you define or describe the nature of these fractures and these divisions that are taking place? How would you characterize the different aims and directions that people are splitting off into?
We say the biggest, KNU, Korean National Union. Our top leaders there could be more stronger, more forward-minded and open-minded, and very precise on goals, on how they want to reach it. As of now, as a young guy myself, I don't sense that. I don't see it. So it's really hard to follow. So that's, say, your family will only be divided if the head of the house don't know which directions he's going or where he wanna take the family. Then no one has to do anything. You will ruin yourself. I think that's why the cost to the division is a lack of good leadership. Yeah.
When you say that they're not as forward-thinking or open-minded as you would like them to be, what are some examples of forward-thinking or open-mindedness that you personally advocate for in the direction that the Kenya people should be moving towards?
Give more space to the newer generation.
I see.
And I'm not saying just the old people to give space to the younger generation, but also the younger generation you have to look for opportunity, look for a duty, to look for things to do. If you just wait for people to order you this and that, you will never grow, because you don't think for yourself. I think we also have to say the things that I personally do right now. I don't wait for nobody to come ask me, can you do this? This is your task. This is your... No. I can sense that, oh, that's where I can be useful. Let me try it. I won't give up easy until, I'm gonna, if I try something, I wanna master it. I wanna be good at it, or I wanna accomplish it. So if we have more younger generations with that mindset, to take up responsibility, like you probably know the quote, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. If we are not, just blaming the elders. I mean, I don't blame them, I know we have weak leaders now, but I don't blame them, but what can I do so we can assist, so we can advance, so we can, I think if we're worthy, maybe 2 or 3 people want to keep their own position, but I think most of the leaders nowadays, they will give space if you show that you're really capable of doing what is good for the whole nation.
So you talk of your initiative and projects you've been doing. This brings us back to your story, and we left off where you had been in Norway for 20 years. You were in the final year of your university degree. A video popped up which transformed your life, and you knew at that moment you had to change directions. But at this moment, you're also, your life is all but in Norway, your physical life at least, and probably your friends, your community, your professional direction. At that moment, that video pops up, but I can't imagine it's as simple as merely buying a plane ticket to somewhere in Thailand and showing up and saying, okay, where do I go? What do I do next? You haven't been back there for some years, and so how did that process go for you of having this moment of inspiration and this new direction, and then having that manifest in a practical, logistical direction forward? I like to challenge myself all the time, do things that scares me a little bit, and going into unknown territories, not knowing the outcome, but I just know that if I fail, at least I tried. So I challenge myself a lot, both like physically and mentally, and so I think that's you're not born with it. You have to practice it time after time. If you do like stupid stuff over and over again, you get used to it. This is a little bit scary, but yeah, I'm gonna jump anyway. I do things like that. So that's where I think where it scares you a little bit. That's where I know I'm gonna grow a little bit there. I know I'm gonna develop my character a little bit there. So why not? Let's try it. If I have nothing to lose, and
let's try it. Even when I have stuff to lose, sometimes you can lose, like you play chess, you can lose a pawn to advance to, you know. So sometimes you have to sacrifice a small piece of yourself to get a bigger piece. So yeah, I'm not saying that I'm not scared, but courage means, you know, even when you're scared, you still wanna go for it. I think just have a little courage and try out new things. Then you'll see the world from different perspective.
So, did you simply board a flight and land in Thailand and then find your way?
I just boarded a flight. I actually didn't tell a lot of people.
Yeah.
And this came back and team up with a couple of friends that was crazy enough to join, and yeah, we just went for it.
And what was it? What did you land on? What did you start to? How did you know you want to help your community, but what does that mean? What did you actually begin to do?
So I just started fundraising. My church, family, friends, and we raised just maybe 2,000 USD. For me that time, like, that's a lot of money. Came back, donated every penny of it, and we just like, oh, so happy, get to do something, get to be useful. But it's not enough. I'm not satisfied. I'm happy, but I'm not satisfied. I gotta do more, because I can do more. So time after time after time, and then a friend of mine from New York, Utica, his name is Honeymoon. We co-direct I Am Kenyal right now. But before I Am Kenyal, he just reached out to me, yo bro, you're doing all this cool stuff, let me do fundraising for you guys, for you. I said, okay, cool, let's do it. And then he did it. We raised 50,000 USD in 4 days.
Wow.
And Facebook fundraising.
Yeah.
So we were like, oh, this is crazy. We cannot keep it open because it would be too much money. We don't know how to handle it. We didn't have 501c3. We didn't have a lot of connections. We even asked the wrong people for advice, and they want to take advantage of us. And but yeah, we stopped it at 50K. We could have reached 100K or maybe even more easy, because something happened back home too. That's why we managed to raise a lot of money. Yeah, all those money came back in Kawthoolei, gave it away a few times, successful fundraising, and then we thought to ourselves, Jesse that time as well, we came back together.
From Urban Village.
2021. Yeah. Jesse from the Urban Village and Kusha that time. We went on a trip in Kawthoolei together, and now he advised us, like, you guys gonna keep doing this over and over again? And we thought, like, maybe we should do something long term so we can help, not just one time thing all the time. So that's how I Am Kenyal started. Jesse, shout out to Jesse from the Urban Village, and Kusha, brother Kusha. He used to work at the Urban Village too, but he's more involved with his church right now. And brother Honeymoon, or in social media they call him Han Solo, and me. So we kind of talk about the idea, and then me and Han, we came back after we got out. We met with the rest of our friends, and we said, okay, let's start an organization or a group called I Am Kenyal.
And tell us about that name and what it means to you.
I Am Kenyal, before it got to I Am Kenyal, it's like Karen this, Karen that, and Kenyal Po, but then you just thought that, you make Kenyal in English, I Am Kenyal, which means I am Karen. Also, Kenyal means like simple people, or human. But like a little wordplay there. So I Am Kenyal means just I'm Karen. That's it. I want to take pride in my identity, and you know, we never thought it would go this big, and now it's become like a brand. we made a lot of merchandises and sold, raised a lot of money with that brand, and we sell T-shirts, now tote bags. Now we have almost 20 or 30 products that goes by in the name of I'm Kenya. So yeah, we very active on social media as well. I don't know if you have seen it.
Yeah.
But if not, check it out. I just straightforward. I am, and the Kenya is KNYAW. Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and most of our activities are there.
The name really strikes me as an affirmation, as a straightforward affirmation of identity, of pride, of stability, and just an affirmation in one's identity and who one is and one's community. Yeah. And so you mentioned when you first started going on these missions, a large part of it is not denying fear, but the courage to feel the fear and still do what it is you want to do to continue growing and continue being on this path of giving back to your community and living with this kind of integrity. Can you describe the first time that you encountered a situation on one of your trips that really induced a great sense of fear that you had to work to overcome?
I like to look at most things in a funny way. Even when my bamboo rafting, you know, it was big river, rainy season, flip, most people die. No, they cannot swim. But I was smiling because I had some experience with swimming in the military as well, and also at school. My camera, my laptop, everything was in that bag. So I carried it with one arm. I swam across a river, and I survived. And it's like, okay, and that's it. So, and then one time where we came from Manerplaw, the village where the Saw Moo died, and we were gonna go to Brigade 3 from Brigade 5. And then Burma Army came, and they were around like 80, 70 soldiers, enemy soldiers, you know, Burma Army. And then we were only like 6, 7, didn't have guns, but a few of them had, but we thought like it didn't matter. It was a little bit scary because there was a lot of bullets coming, like you hear a pew pew pew. That was super close. But I think I don't know how to be scared no more, or I wasn't that scared either because the people around me. I accepted death a long time ago. Like, it's a part of life. Like, I can die anytime, anywhere. Why worry about it? You know. So. One day you'll die for sure. Why worry? Why, you know? Why take it easy? Why live life easy? So I don't even remember or recall some time when I'm super scared. Just, I don't know, not for myself, but say last year on a trip I brought back a whole team. You know, coming home trip, we have a yearly trip where we invite overseas Kenyampo to come back to the country to experience their motherland. And on our way back, the river, Salween River, it's pretty scary river. You know, it's very hard to swim, to survive the river if you fall, if you boat flip. So the river was super scary that day, and I was worried about, you know, almost 20 people on that boat. If anything happens, how many can I save? How many can I help? You know, that scared me a little bit. But for my own safety, I don't know. I I don't think about that too much. I don't worry too much about it, or at all. Just people that I bring, will they be safe? That's the kind of things that can scare me a little bit. Yeah.
Right. So I Am Kenya started through these, we can call them humanitarian trips of collecting what at the time was a massive $2,000 and then distributing that with, converting that to aid and giving it to people in need, and the incredible joy that you described and fulfillment that left you with, or in your words, happy but not satisfied. And then that led to the $50,000 campaign, which then I assume went to more humanitarian kind of work. And so as I Am Kenyan, this is natural to many organizations that start out not really knowing what they are, just a dude with a backpack somewhere that ends up becoming something much more than one ever imagined. Do you would you characterize I Am Kenyan now as a humanitarian organization with a humanitarian mission, or has it grown into many other things as well?
I see ourselves as a bridge that between the gap, inside here in Kawthoolei, or the borders and overseas. That's how I see our team as a bridge that will connect our overseas Kenyapo to our homeland. There are probably many similar organizations too, but as for ourselves, I think we're very unique. We have the influence among our community like no one else does. We do humanitarian. We host camps also in the States. We fundraise. We make T-shirts. We do a lot of stuff. We do podcasts. We have studio. We make chili paste. We sponsor students. We build schools. A lot of stuff. But at the end of the day, I see us as a bridge, because our mission is to empower the next generation of Kenyapo, to empower them to, let them know that in all of their unique profession, they can still be a part of this movement, this revolution. They can add, they're all valuable. They can all add value to the movement, not just take up arms and fight. You can be a cameraman, tell the story of your people. You can be a writer, write a book about your people. You can be a preacher, you can preach about your people. You can, it's endless. A designer, design a school for your people back home, entrepreneur, anything. So we just want to let them know that you can be a part of it no matter what skill you have. Yeah.
That's awesome. And it also seems to contrast your concern that you mentioned with older leadership and generations that aren't making room for that kind of involvement and initiative. You seem to be really wanting to spark the initiative and the can-do spirit that anyone of your background, volition, skills, that there is a place for you to find your way and help your people.
Before the coup, most of the areas I go to are like indigenous land, where maybe when Rapok come, he can talk. Here we also talk a lot about environment and indigenous people, indigenous rights. Those are the places I go to. For me, that's where the real authentic identity of Kenyapo are left. That's where I go to. So I spend most of my time among like all Kenyapo, all Karen villages, places in the front line. So now after coup, I join my friends that are young leaders in the front, that are fighting with weapons. I join them, and I see to find out how their life decision they make, and how tough it is, and they have families behind. I've lost a couple of friends already, last couple of months.
I'm sorry.
More friends. So. And after coup, you see more young Burmese as well, that truly now understand the cause and joins the fight on our side, on the same side. It really makes me happy to see that now we're finally fighting one big giant enemy together. It's not it's no longer Korean versus Burmese, but it's good versus evil now. So it makes me kind of, it gives me hope, you know. I'm more hopeful, and we sure, of course, we have our differences, you know, we different characteristics, but we can talk about it later. We'll beat the evil giant first, and then we can go on our own ways later, you know. Yeah, I see more young, very strong, not just Burmese youth, but other like Chin, Rakhine, Granny, super brave, nothing else than, they want nothing else than destroy the evil in this country. So we have one common enemy now, we fight together. So we've never been more, or you can say the ethnic armed ethnic groups has never been more united than ever, I think. So it's for me, it's after coup, it's good news for us. Yeah.
I want to ask you a question I asked our mutual friend Enetha as he was describing his journey, and he was describing very eloquently as a young person the abject hatred that he had for the Bamar people, for and his at that time conflating Bamar people with military, and eventually growing and learning the distinction there, but feeling rightly so this persecution that his family had and all his community had faced for generations and across villages. And he describes his journey of forgiveness, of making friendships and communication with Bamar people, and understanding that the evil, to use your word, that his people were encountering were at the hands of some very despicable people in the military, and the conditioning the military promotes, and realizing that Bamar people in cities didn't have that understanding of what their military counterparts were doing in these ethnic regions, and his own journey which involved also his faith in finding a way to overcome that, and to let go of that and work towards some change. But I want to ask you as well, because similarly your mother was literally carrying you as an infant across scorched conflict zones to safety. You grew up in a refugee camp. You were displaced for so many years, and your people are still going through this. And your inner journey is as profound as your outer journey, and how you've shared thus far, and the inner landscape that you've described. And so within that inner landscape, what has been your journey, insofar as you're comfortable sharing, with how you've come to regard this persecution and suffering that your people have gone through at the hands of another people, and if you've found some understanding, some forgiveness, or if that's or just where you stand with that.
I make peace with it. I don't it's not, I won't forget it, but I make peace with it. It won't disturb my inner peace. But I also know what I have to do to not go through the same suffering. And I don't see myself as a victim, nor my people as a victim. I want our people to get out of that victim mindset, waiting for a superhero to come save us. There's no superhero coming. Nobody. It's us. We're it. Once we start realizing that, oh, no one's coming, so I have to do it myself, then we will give our all. We will give everything that we have. I think that's when we will get what we deserve. If we keep waiting, keep blaming people around us, keep talking about lost opportunities, then it becomes what you feed yourself with those words. Your mind tricks itself. It starts believing in it. And you think sorry for yourself, and then you're just destroying yourself. It's a mindset. Think healthier, speak to yourself in a healthier way, more empowering way, and then you will see endless opportunity. It's like, whoa, I should have just done that. It's like, it was just a switch of mindset. So, you know, I don't forget it. I make peace with it. All the things my people has to go through. At the same time, I'm gonna do everything I can so that they don't have to go through it more. You know, yeah. If I must commit any actions for the better of my people, I don't mind. Yeah.
Right. You mentioned also having spent time on front lines, and I think the experience of active conflict and warfare is something that is across human history is immensely hard to be able to share what it feels like in writing and video, documentary, movie, text, storytelling, whatever. It's the most extreme of human experiences we can have on this world is active conflict. And so, and I think right now in Burma, this has been 3.5 years of active conflict across the country. It's been, as you've mentioned, at least 8 decades, if not more, if you start counting back before that, of some kind of conflict with civil war in the ethnic areas, and yet this conflict as it's raged on, it's been difficult to have that story emerge outside of Myanmar for more attention and support. And I know that you've said that you've come to a realization that we have to do things ourselves. There's no superhero coming. We have to find our own way. I really respect that. Those are really powerful words. At the same time, your involvement, your active presence in those conflict zones, I think that's something immensely valuable for our listeners to try to understand the feeling of what's going on in Burma right now and what it feels like on those front lines, what the reality is, the color of that experience. And so what can you tell us and tell our listeners about what is actually happening on the front lines, what they would see or feel or hear or encounter if they were to take a stroll through some of these areas?
Especially nowadays, is airstrikes. Like some of it, if it's a jet fighter, we know before it arrives that we can see cover before that. But there's a type of airplane that we call Y-12. They drop 5 to 10 bombs in one drop, and they fly above you for several hours, 5 to 6 hours, all day. Say if 2 of them come in a day, it's like it covered the whole day. So you can drop above your head all day. You hear that all day. So if you have that big fear in your heart, you won't be able to be there with the PDF or the KNLA or soldiers that are in the front. So they are no longer scared of that. In their eyes, they've gone through so much pain. They don't care about death no more. They just wanna fight for a good cause, fight for the lost friends or lost. Like you have a dinner with your friend today, you laugh together, you sing together. Tomorrow, a drop of a bomb, you'll never see him again or her, So that's like the reality. It's like, this is real. It's not just a movie. Like people, you talk with me now, tomorrow I'm gone. It's like, so the reality is so harsh. It's like, it's not just some story people tell no more. It's like, it's real. It's happening right now as we speak now too.
Yeah.
So I would like the listeners to think of it now as rainy season. Most of my friends are in the front line now. They're in the rain. They don't have super warm clothes especially if you have to wear uniforms, you're wet, you're cold. And then you're cold the whole night. You never know when you get to sleep. You know for sure maybe you'll get a meal or two if it arrives. Some people have to carry it all the way to the front line. And then in a bag or in a plastic bag or wrapped in bamboo leaf, there's rice and maybe some shrimp paste or maybe just veggies, salt and a little bit oil. So you don't have that nutritious food, and you might be cold, but you have no other choices, or you might be tired, but you have no other choices than stand there, fight, so the people behind you can have a better life. That's like the reality. Those are like 20 years old, 25, 23, 20, young people that should be traveling the world, find themselves a beautiful wife, a beautiful girl, and fly anywhere in this world, you know, or start their own businesses, go to school, study whatever they want. They were supposed to do that, and they should have, you know, they're supposed to do that, but you know, for the sake of the people or what the greater cause that they believe in, they are willing to lay down their lives in the front. So you see that in reality, and it's like it hits you different. How can I ever live? How can I ever live and have a comfortable life knowing, you know, young men, young brothers, sisters are, you know, going through those stuff. Yeah, nobody should, you know, war is terrible, but war will always be in this world. Yeah, so it's a little bit challenging to find a good balance, to accept things how they are, you know, and keeping it's a everyday decision you have to make. Okay, I'm gonna be strong today. I'm gonna keep coming back. I know it's hard, but I'm gonna go anyway. I'm gonna support my brothers and sisters. I'm gonna be useful. Yeah, the easiest way is to give up. Like, the only easy day was yesterday. You know, we have to like the Navy SEAL quote. So I think that's how I like to challenge my mind. You know, myself. I wanna be there for them. I don't have a lot of money. Sometimes I don't even have money, but I will be there, so they know I mean what I say when I will stand with them by their side. I could die too, but they knowing I could die too, but still spending time with them, be with them at the front. It's like it's something you cannot buy with money. So it's yeah.
And so you reference how this one really transformative time in your life came from this video that popped up, and that started you on your journey in 2018. Just now you referenced that seeing these young people on the front lines, it changes you forever, is how you described it. It makes you reflect deeply in that moment. So is it fair to say that these are two different transformative moments that that hit you and moved you in different ways along your journey?
Yeah, you can say that. There are, you know, a lot of small moments that made me the person I am today. But big ones are like when you start losing people you love, and it hits different. You know, changing your life to do something, go explore. It's baby step compared to keep continuing, even when you start losing people, like not just out of your life, but like out of the world. It's different.
How do you manage that trauma?
How do I manage it? You know, you express it, you cry, and then, you know, a man's got to be a man. You got to keep going. This world is no place. There's no place for weak men, weak people in this world. You know,
being strong is a decision you have to make every day. Nobody's born strong. I'm gonna make a decision today. I'm gonna be strong. I'm gonna do my best, give my very best. That's how you deal with it. If you feel pity for yourself, feel sorry for yourself, you destroy yourself. I don't believe in, yeah, maybe it would be a little rough, but I don't believe in being depressed. Just go out in the nature, work out, try to stay healthy, connect with good people. Not just anybody, but people that inspires you. Connect with good people, good company.
Yeah.
And it's not that you don't run from it, but you don't give it space in your life. Don't give it time. If you give it, it will occupy it. Give no space to negativity or weak-minded thoughts. Yeah.
But it sounds like you do give yourself a space to, when the emotion is so powerful that it overpowers or break down in tears. It sounds like you do give yourself that space and that permission for vulnerability in those moments where you allow those human emotions to express as they do without the suppression, which can then lead to dangers down the line. But then once that space has been expressed in its own way, then you look, okay, what am I doing tomorrow? What do I need to do next?
It's okay to be vulnerable, but not weak.
How would you define the difference?
Being weak is not even trying. I mean, not even trying, just finding excuses instead. And excuses not to make it. Vulnerable is not knowing that, okay, say if I have a kid or what, somebody hurt them, they're my vulnerability because I love them. People that I love, if I lose them, that's my vulnerability. But it's not weakness. It's like I care for them, so I cry. So crying doesn't make you weak. It's just like, it takes courage to be able to express your emotions.
Right. You've talked about the front lines, and another part of the outgrowth of the conflict, and also where your attention and area has gone, are displaced person camps and refugee camps. And these have tragically been growing in obscene numbers over the last few years. I think the latest statistics are something like 3 million displaced, I think, across the country, and that number is only growing by the time this episode comes out. And so and you yourself grew up in a refugee camp, but you have been so active, and your organization has been so active in distributing urgent humanitarian supplies to these growing numbers of displaced peoples. I want to also ask you to give us some color to describe for those listeners, and many of whom, I think the vast majority would have no conception of what a refugee camp would be, let alone a displaced person, a temporary space for displaced persons, let alone what that looks like in war-torn Burma. So can you describe and give some color as to what one would find if they walked into the kinds of displaced person camps that you have gone to deliver these supplies?
What I usually see is how before I go, how I prepare myself is I'm not gonna look sad. I'm not gonna cry in front of them. I'm not gonna show that I feel sorry for them. I'm gonna show that, okay, we're here for you guys. It's gonna be alright. I want to be one of the reasons they feel alright, especially the kids. If you see that situation and you reflect on that, and they also see, it affects the situation. So I try to approach it in laughing. I like to joke a lot. I say a lot of stupid stuff to make people smile in those areas. Trying to make, say, one child smile, in a time like that, I find it priceless. So, but if you don't go consciously prepared, then you will see they in their eyes as hopeless. It's like, when can we go home? Like, not knowing when you can go home, when you can study again, go to school. Will I just be this? Will my life just end like this? You know, just live in the jungle, not knowing what's coming next. You will see in their eyes that how are we gonna survive so long? When will the war end? It's like questions that no one has the answers to. So, and since I've also been very active on social media. They've seen my face. I do sometimes I do comedy skits. I talk I do a lot of stuff too on social media. So they've seen me here and there. So when they see me again in person, their face lights up as well. So it makes me happy.
Yeah,
it makes me happy. And but other than that, you just see pain. You see pain, and the more you let it soak into you guys, you start crying there too. So it's the kind of pain that it's not just that cut of a knife or a bullet. It's pain that not knowing what's coming next.
Yeah.
And especially when you have a lot of children. Most of the family there have 5+ children. When you have to worry about that, living in third world country, say you have one kid, and that's a lot of worries already. In the jungle, 5+ kids, and not say most of people there, they live their life on rotational farming. If you miss out a week or two, a whole year, your life is screwed. It's if you don't have time to do farm your rice, plant your rice, then you're finished. So that's the kind of hardship you see in their eyes. How am I gonna survive this year? So that's where AIDS come in. People, we don't want them to live on AIDS forever. It's good, but what can we do to prevent? So there are more IDPs. So there are less IDP and less refugees. I think, of course, we should have emergency fund for IDPs in case a village get hit and the villagers run away. But we also should focus about security measures as well. I think that would be more. For me personally, the priority.
What kind of security measures?
Maybe say not like that. Not buying weapons and supplying ammunition. Not that. That's not our part. That's not our part. But we can provide training so people don't say expose important stuff, important locations, or important informations, or we can train people to say support people that are in the front line, support their families, so they don't have to worry about what are my family gonna eat while I'm here. Support their children, that they can, while they are in the front, the children can go to school, find teachers that can that has the courage to teach in a time of war, because the enemy will try to waste your time as much as they can, so you don't get the time to study. After many years, this year has just been war, let's say, we're just gonna let you pass 1 year, 2 year, 3 year. Your whole village become less educated. Maybe you get a certification of graduating, but I think you understand what I mean.
Yeah. Has education been going on in some form in Kawthoolei?
Yeah, in the jungle, they have to move from place to place.
Mm-hmm.
They bomb schools, churches, important locations like that. They do, and the enemy, they don't mind. So the children, they always have to live in fear. Because, say, I may have this kind of mindset. I make peace with difficult situations easy and try to find a way. If I cannot find, I'll make a way. But probably 90% of other people, they will be so easily scared. Here in the airplane, they will run miles and not come back to the village again. You think about that's the reality for them too, So that's where IMP also comes in, my organization or my team. I don't consider ourselves an organization, but more like a movement. Like we wanna become the hope in the time of suffering, crisis. We want to become the light that can make people smile even when they're in a hard situation. So that's how I see ourselves as a movement, a positive movement. Yeah.
You talk a lot about smiles and comedy and laughter and your propensity to say stupid stuff and to get your mind right as you go into those places. And humor is one of those things that humor can be very cultural. It can be something that is very rooted in the kind of culture and language and sometimes doesn't translate so much from one to the other. But to understand the people, you understand the humor. And so I want to put you on the spot and ask you if there are any jokes or routines or humor that you could share with the audience that's of the type that you often use to bring smiles to them.
No, it's just that it's not that I have jokes. My dad is like most people know him as a joker. Like he talks, he say things very ironically or sarcastic. Way you can never take people that you should not always take serious.
Yeah.
And I think I've gotten some of that characteristics as well. And so I just not that I have jokes. I just talk on spot based on the situations like happening there. And like just make fun of it. And if we can talk about running from airstrike, how you get dirty, your face is black, and we talk those stuff. We make it funny, and we don't talk about it was so scary, blah blah blah. But in our culture, when you see most people in my people, when we see our friend get hurt, we laugh at them, and the same thing come back. If I hit my head, it's funny. Then my friend laughs at me. It's not like, oh, you okay? Are you so sorry? No, we don't do that. It's like, oh, are you happy now? Rather than asking if they're okay. Oh, so you must have had very fun hitting your head with your toes. So we do it like that. So especially friends, people that I have around me. I'm very cautious about the people I have around me. So we just we say everything. Like most of the things that comes out of our mind, we just talk it out and we don't take it personal. If you take life too seriously, you will never have fun. You should have some space for fun, to laugh and smile. Sometimes when over time and then it becomes a part of your character.
Yeah.
And then just when you're there, people just know that you're gonna have a good time with you or me or So, yeah.
It's extraordinary to be in conflict zones and displacement and this generation of conflict, as we've mentioned, and it's like if you can bring humor and lightness and compassion and love there, then certainly you could do it anywhere.
Yeah. I cannot take everything too seriously.
I also want to go a bit deeper into the culture as well, and we've talked about some of the more serious topics, moving on from humor and moving into food. And I'm sure that, and you've talked about how the Kenya people meet every definition of what a country would be in terms of their culture and language and customs and such. Food would be another. So if you can tell us a bit what one would expect first of Kenya food in general and how that might differ from Bamar food, which our listeners might be more familiar with, and then what you would find, what some of the more interesting or unusual kind of things you would find as you go deeper into the jungle.
So we have one. I think this one is the national food. I believe it's like we call it takapo. Takapo is just rice, a thick rice soup with a lot of vegetables, chili, onions if we have. If not that, just like it came from. If you have to run from conflict zone or run from war, and then you only got a small bag of rice, and then you soak that rice in water, and then you pound it, and then you start cooking water. You put that pounded rice powder in the pot, and they start stirring it, and it becomes like a thick rice soup. With you just add a lot of veggies and salt, pepper in it, and it becomes like a really delicious dish. It's like we call it takapo.
Mm-hmm.
It's like almost like rice porridge, but it's not really, but the Korean style. So yep, and then fish paste, of course, chili paste, and just like a lot of veggies. That's like what you would eat in Kawthoolei, in Korean state, and you will see a lot of dried food. So we don't have fridge there, so you have to dry all your food to make it last longer. So we still have people that lives in like the Stone Age, like in the old school, like in Stone Age time. So, but yeah, I think takapo is what very normal for Korean people. The deeper you go in, you will see maybe some rice, some villages that can't even afford oil, barely have salt, and have dried fish from many months ago, and they crush it, and then it's like a small, not even as big as your thumb, and they flatten it out. That's what and then they cook water, some dried cabbage in it, add a little salt, and that's what they eat with the family, But if you visit them, they will still invite you to dinner, even with that little that they have. They will still serve you first, and then eat after you eat. So that's the characteristic of true indigenous Kenyapo. Yeah, they will serve you even when they have nothing. So yeah, that's what you will see when you go deep into Kawthoolei.
Right. And going a bit deeper into the culinary traditions, are there any kinds of dishes or ways of cooking that would would stand out as being somewhat unique or unusual to for people who hadn't had much contact there?
Well, in there we still cook using wood, and if you have a pan or a pot, and then there's not a lot of oil you cannot find.
Yeah.
And then what you have is maybe salt or MSG if you can afford it. Salt is cheaper, and then it's just herbs, natural herbs. It's a lot of healthy veggies, herbs in there. Where because the land is so rich, you can just plant anything; it will grow. So we're kind of like maybe modern days poor, but one day we'll be the richest one. Where we have a garden, chickens, where we raise goats and ducks. So I don't see it as being poor. But, you know, we don't have a lot of what others have, but we have a lot of stuff that others don't have as well. So yeah, I mean, it's not a lot of oil or not a lot of sugar, not a lot of deep fried stuff. It's like more like cook, boil up water, put some veggies, salt. That's it. So the really special is we call it, especially in Manerplaw area, we call bag tea, which means there's a type of salad or cabbage, I call it, very special in Brigade 5, or they also have in other areas as well, but we call it in mountain delicacy, jungle delicacy. It doesn't matter cold or hot water. You just put in a piece of it, and it's like make it smell good and make it taste good. Because when you have nothing, that's what you have, and it's just like you can not find anything more simple than that, but unique. And a lot of people in third world country, if they eat it, the memories that comes in your mind is like the smell of it and the taste of it is like, oh, I miss my village. Like, yeah.
So wrapping up and looking at where we are today, where we're sitting with the conflict having waged on, and the resistance among the PDFs, the other ethnic groups, certainly in Kawthoolei, and the peoples that you're in contact with. Where do you see where we're at this point in the conflict? What sense or morale are you getting, and where are you seeing your role in it as it continues to play out?
So this is my view on it, my understanding of the situation. I think the junta, the big enemy, the SAC, Burma Army, they are losing grounds and spirit. So there are a couple that surrendered, and they say 4 out of 5 just want to run away.
Yeah.
They're being forced, they're being drugged, they're being threatened to charge to the front. They're being lied to. They're being given false information. They say there's only 1 hill left, 2 hill left, 3 hill left, and we're there. But truth is, they're far away from it, far away from the goal. They're far more of them that dies than what they're being told, and far more grounds that they're losing everywhere. And so I think it's a bright future. The future is bright. It's because I'm hopeful. I'm also realistic.
Yeah.
If it's not bright, I wouldn't say it. You know, I wouldn't lie to myself. So it looks bright to me right now. And you ask, what's my role in it? Where I see my role in it? I think how I see myself in all of this mess is I'm not gonna be the light for everybody in Burma, but maybe for 10 of my friends. I want them to know that I'm here, right by their side, and my team also. Of course, not just 10, but you know, maybe 100 or maybe 1,000. But we don't have a lot of funding. But when people are in hard, difficult situations, they reach out to us. I don't promise them anything, but I will make sure I deliver something to you. That's what they know. I've kept my word. I've given my very best the last couple of years. So also I haven't ruined my reputation. I hope not to. In the future, I'll just deliver my part. Keep my promises if I promise. So I think if they see, if my friends in the front line sees me as a way of someone they can turn to when they're in difficult situations, then I will be that someone. Yeah, and as for my whole team, the movement, I wanna play a role in, like, because we're pretty active on social media. We wanna be, we wanna promote peace, unity, and come back. That people that wanna come back home. We wanna promote our country, our land. So when you look up Korean state, Kawthoolei, whatever you wanna look up related to Korean people, so it doesn't pop up only war and suffering. You write down Kawthoolei, Korean people of Burma, comes up. You know, the search engine shows up more positive stuff. You know, the beautiful land, the beautiful people. Instead of feel pity for me, feel sorry for me, give me this, give me that. Nah, I don't want that. We want to be a good face. Yeah, that's how I see my role and my team's role in it. Yeah.
You said from your first trip of $2,000 that it made you happy but not satisfied. Are you satisfied now?
No. I can never be satisfied, but I can always be happy. I'm happy. I can always do more because I know I can do more. Why should I be satisfied? If I'm satisfied, I won't grow no more. I still want to grow. If I cannot lead a country, I try to lead a district. If I cannot lead a district, I try to lead a village. If I cannot lead a village, I'll try to lead a school, or if not a school, maybe a small team. You know, I want to be useful, and being useful, you cannot be satisfied with the skills that you have, and just say that's it. You have to improve in order to adapt to this new world. You know, the world is adapting. You have to be water, like Bruce Lee said. You know, be water, my friend. Adapt to every shape and form that things turn to. That's how you will survive and thrive. Yeah.
This has been such a beautiful conversation. I've learned so much. I thank you so much for your time. And before we go, this is a chance to talk about not just your journey, but the journey of and the ongoing journey of the Kenya people in Kawthoolei, and to bring that reality and those people to our listeners in greater relief. Is there anything more that you would like to say about these people or this land to imprint on our listeners' memory?
I want to invite the listeners to maybe come visit, come see my homeland, my motherland. It's beautiful. As of now, maybe a little dangerous, a little bit scary for regular people, but one day it will be big, beautiful, more beautiful, and you can come and visit. I want to invite everybody, and not just see the Korean people as the victims. You know, see. I want you guys to see and experience the real beauty and the culture, the uniqueness, simpleness of Kenyapo. Because Korean shirt, you've probably seen it. It's there's no pockets, there's no back or front. It's simple. Just put it on and that's it. And so simple but unique. So I want you guys to. I would like people to see the beauty side of it too, you know. And yeah, and if interested, check out our website, imkenyan.org. And then if you like our work, share about it. If you don't, it's okay. And yeah, that's my invitation to all of the listeners. And I really appreciate its honor. Thank you for having me. There's no preparations. I'm not used to prepare either. Not even when I was studying. But I just like to speak my heart. So I hope you guys felt or seen or kind of sense what I have in my heart, and I hope I expressed it in a useful way, and yeah, thank you.
Like you lost another one.
Chi ma ka chi ba ti ba ko chi ma ka ne ba ko ka nyo ba ha lu khu de ta o we lo ba ha lu khu de ta ta ka nyo ho ko deploy ya do so ma ma nu ko de o
I know for a lot of podcast listeners, as soon as the fundraising requests start up, you just kind of zone out or skip ahead till it's over. But I ask that if you're taking the time to listen to our full podcast, that you also take the time to consider our spiel. Some may assume that producing a 2-hour episode wouldn't take much more than the conversation itself. But so much more goes into it. In advance of the interview, our content team reviews the biography and relevant works of the upcoming guests, and we discuss the best way to use our limited time together. After the interview is completed, the raw audio file is sent to our sound engineer, who shapes it into working order. A single episode can take several full days of solid production work in the studio, which is carefully coordinated with our content team to ensure smooth listening. Further edits and post-production magic bring the eventual episode into your ears, along with extensive written descriptions of each interview, which we publish on our blog and social media. Many of these steps require an outlay of funds in some way or another. We hope that each episode informs you about the ongoing crisis, and if you find it of value, we also hope that you might consider supporting our mission. If you would like to join in our mission to support those in Myanmar who are being impacted by the military coup, we welcome your contribution in any form, currency, or transfer method. Your donation will go on to support a wide range of humanitarian and media missions, aiding those local communities who need it most. Donations are directed to such causes as the Civil Disobedience Movement, CDM, families of deceased victims, internally displaced person IDP camps, food for impoverished communities, military defection campaigns, undercover journalists, refugee camps, monasteries and nunneries, education initiatives, the purchasing of protective equipment and medical supplies, COVID relief, and more. We also make sure that our donation fund supports a diverse range of religious and ethnic groups across the country. We invite you to visit our website to learn more about past projects, as well as upcoming needs. You can give a general donation or earmark your contribution to a specific activity or project you would like to support, perhaps even something you heard about in this very episode. All of this humanitarian work is carried out by our nonprofit mission, Better Burma. Any donation you give on our Insight Myanmar website is directed towards this fund. Alternatively, you can also visit the Better Burma website, betterburma.org, and donate directly there. In either case, your donation goes to the same cause, and both websites accept credit card. You can also give via PayPal by going to paypal.me/betterburma. Additionally, we can take donations through Patreon, Venmo, GoFundMe, and Cash App. Simply search Better Burma on each platform and you'll find our account. You can also visit either website for specific links to these respective accounts or email us at info@betterburma.org. That's Better Burma, one word, spelled BETTERBURMA.org. If you would like to give it another way, please contact us. We also invite you to check out our range of handicrafts that are sourced from vulnerable artisan communities across Myanmar, available at alokacrafts.com. Any purchase will not only support these artisan communities, but also our nonprofit's wider mission. That's Aloka Crafts, spelled ALOKACRAFTS, one word, alokacrafts.com. Thank you so much for your kind consideration and support.
Oba yarananda dayananga yaranaya dayanana boda ba yaranamana